Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave division rivals stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news. Now folks, if you've been following the NFL news cycle, you know that the league is always in motion. Players shifting, teams rebuilding, and surprises popping up when you least expect. But today, we're diving into a story that could have major ramifications not just for one team, but for the entire NFC East and the Washington Commanders. And trust me, it's a story that's bubbling just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to explode into full view. Let's set the stage. The San Francisco 49ers, a team that's been consistently competitive over the past few seasons, are facing a dilemma. It's a familiar one in the NFL: contracts, player demands, and team-building strategies. Recently, wide receiver Jennings, who had a breakout season last year, made it clear that he's not happy with his current contract situation. Jennings, who proved to be a reliable target and a key piece in the 49ers offense, has reportedly demanded a pay raise. If his demands aren't met, he's prepared to request a trade. That's right, trade talks are now part of the conversation, and this could completely shake up the team's roster and even open up opportunities elsewhere in the league. Now, Jennings's case is interesting. He's coming off a season where he really demonstrated that he can be a top target, showing impressive hands, route running, and the ability to make big plays when it counts. During last year's run, Jennings became a favorite in that dynamic San Francisco offense, which is coached by Kyle Shanahan, known for its creative and versatile attack. Jennings's emergence as a reliable receiver has made him a valuable commodity, and the fact that he's demanding a raise signals that he believes he's earned a bigger paycheck. And honestly, if you look at his production, it's hard to argue otherwise. He finished the season with over 500 receiving yards and a handful of touchdowns, showing consistency and the ability to step up when the team needed him most. But here's the rub. This puts the 49ers in a tricky spot. They're facing some roster uncertainties heading into the season. Ricky Pearsall, who was expected to contribute, is currently banged up. Brandon Ayuk, their primary receiver, might not be ready to start the season fully healthy, and Demarcus Robinson, brought in to add depth, could face suspension or disciplinary issues. Simply put, the 49ers need Jennings in a big way. Losing him would weaken their receiving core at a critical juncture, especially considering the physical and demanding schedule ahead. And with the NFC West being as competitive as it is, think about the Seahawks, the Rams, and the always dangerous Arizona Cardinals. Every weapon counts. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUB algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Now imagine a scenario where the 49ers, unable to reach an agreement with Jennings, actually decide to trade him. It's not their usual MO. But in today's NFL, where financial constraints and roster flexibility are king, anything is possible. And here's where it gets really interesting for Washington fans. Because, as crazy as it sounds, the trade talk could lead to a pretty intriguing reunion, one that might benefit both teams and shake up the NFC East in the process. What if the 49ers, in their quest to rebuild their roster and manage their cap space, target a young wide receiver prospect from the Commanders? Enter Luke McCaffrey. Yes, you heard that right, Christian McCaffrey's younger brother, who's just entering his second year in the NFL. Luke, who played college football at Nebraska, showed flashes of potential during his rookie season, catching 18 passes for 168 yards. It's a modest start, but the buzz around him is that he could have a breakout year this season, especially with more opportunity and a clearer role in the 49ers offense. Now, if the trade happens, say the 49ers send Jennings to Washington in exchange for a mid-round draft pick and Luke McCaffrey, that could be a win-win for both sides. For the 49ers, it's about getting younger, more affordable talent and perhaps a promising receiver who can develop into a key piece in their offense. For the Commanders, adding a player like Luke McCaffrey provides depth and potential, especially considering the teams need to develop young receivers who can grow with their quarterback and contribute over the coming seasons. And of course, the trade would be a bit amusing from a narrative perspective. Imagine the San Francisco 49ers sending two of their top receivers from last season, Deebo Samuel and Jennings, to Washington, and then acquiring McCaffrey in return. It's a bit of poetic justice, and it carries a certain storybook quality that NFL fans love to follow. But let's talk about the implications. The Commanders, who are in the midst of a rebuild under coach Ron Rivera, are always looking for ways to improve the roster, especially in the passing game. Adding a player like Jennings, or even just acquiring him in trade, could give quarterback Sam Howell a serious boost. Howell's development has been a major storyline this offseason. The team believes in him, and having a reliable receiver like Jennings could be exactly what they need to push into the playoffs and beyond. It's also worth mentioning that the Commanders have been making some strategic moves in the offseason, trying to bolster their receiving core and offensive line. They've brought in some veteran free agents, drafted promising rookies, and are now looking to get more explosive on offense. If they can land Jennings, assuming the trade talks get serious, it could be a game changer. Jennings's versatility and clutch ability could fit perfectly into Rivera's offensive scheme, which relies heavily on timing and precise route running. Now, looking at the broader picture, a trade like this would also send a message across the league. It signals that Washington is serious about contending and that they're willing to make bold moves to get there. They've been building quietly but steadily, and adding a player of Jennings's caliber would turn heads. It could even spark a mini rivalry between the two teams, especially if Jennings goes on to make an immediate impact against the 49ers or other NFC teams. Of course, nothing is guaranteed in the NFL, and the trade talks are still very much in the realm of speculation. The 49ers might decide to keep Jennings if they can come to an agreement, and Washington's front office will need to weigh the potential upside against the cost. But what's clear is that both teams are exploring their options, and the possibility of a trade is more real than ever. If it happens, it could set off a chain reaction, maybe even influencing other trades and roster moves across the league. And let's not forget, the NFC East is one of the most competitive divisions in football. The Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, and now the Commanders are all vying for supremacy. Adding a player like Jennings, or making a strategic trade involving young talent like Luke McCaffrey, could tip the scales in Washington's favor. Especially if Howell continues to develop and the defense holds up, these offensive upgrades are crucial. In conclusion, this story isn't just about a player demanding more money. It's about roster strategy, team building, and the constant chess match that is the NFL offseason. The potential trade between the 49ers and the Commanders is a fascinating storyline that could reshape the dynamics of the NFC East. For Washington fans, it's a reminder that your team is always in the mix, always looking for ways to improve and ready to seize opportunities when they arise. So, keep an eye on this developing situation because, in the NFL, today's rumors can become tomorrow's game-changing reality. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the team. Do you think Jennings will stay in San Francisco or is a trade to Washington on the horizon? Would you like to see Luke McCaffrey or another young receiver get a shot in the 49ers offense? Let us know your predictions and insights. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news. Thanks for being with us today, and as always, stay passionate, stay informed, and let's go Commanders.